by the way, I think that's one of the things. If it's your calling, you'll find a way to get over it.
Yeah.
But when it's not your calling, I was just miserable. Every competition, I was absolutely miserable. And I remember those stories when I asked you if you ever messed up, because I literally had those moments when I drowned twice.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Yoga with Alina, the podcast, the coffee break. I always forget what's the storyline there. But welcome for another episode. And today I am not alone. I'm joined by my friend. Her name is Kim, and she is a performer. And as you can probably guess from the name of this episode, we're going to be talking about performing, because for me, teaching yoga has always felt like I'm kind of on stage, but we're going to get into it a little bit later. Right now, I'm just going to hand the mic over to you and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, everything. Go for it.
Oh, okay.
Welcome, by the way.
Well,
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I am so honored. This is my first podcast, and I'm so honored that it's yours.
Thank you, babe.
I feel like this is a stage right now.
It is.
I'm performing right now with my voice.
It is, though.
I love this. Thank you.
Everything that we're creating is performing, but the thing is, so many people are scared of that. That's true. I get so many. Okay, back. We're not diving into the episode before you tell us who you are.
Sorry, it's a Scorpio thing. We have problems talking about ourselves. I am Kim Kong.
There you go.
I'm Kim Kong. I am a Miami local, and I've been performing for 8 years.
Okay. What do you perform?
I started off as a go-go dancer, and then from there I branched off to stilt walking, lyra, which is also known as aerial hoop.
Okay, that I know. Lyra, I didn't.
Yeah, and also as of April, fire performing.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Honestly, I've not seen your performance, but I'm looking forward to one.
There are plenty of opportunities. Your girl doesn't stop working.
I know.
After this, I'm going to go to work.
I know. That's crazy. And if I didn't need to, I did wake up at 6 a.m, so I cannot join you for that one. But one of these days, I'm definitely going to come and see. But yeah, so guys, basically, here's what's happening. We met at a yoga event. And when I saw Kim, she has such a presence. I don't know if it's I think it should translate through voice, because you have very, I don't even know how to say. It's it's the presence. It's really you feel that presence. And so basically I saw this girl, and she was one of the speakers, and I'm like, you know what? She is coming to my podcast. I'm going to get her there. And I don't even know what I'm going to talk about with her, because, it's obviously yoga topics and stuff like that. But I'm like, you know what? No, she is coming because you have to meet her for sure. And the bottom line is that I always say it's a coffee break. So I just invite people who I kind of want to hang out with. So we're hanging out today. But honestly, in the process, because it was about a month ago or so that we met, or maybe even more. I think it might be the end of September. And basically over this time, I was pretty active on social, and I've been getting a lot of questions. And I noticed that I do have a lot of new teachers who are, asking about being kind of having anxiety of teaching, and how do you still get butterflies when you teach, and all those questions. I think in my solo episode I was actually answering one of those questions as well. So I'm like, you know what, it's a perfect opportunity. I have this performer girl, and she's, by the way, we're going to talk about it a little bit later as well, but she's about to launch her course on performing as well. I'm curious to know more, because I only know that bit of information as of right now. And I'm like, you know what? Let's ask professionals, how do we kind of get over ourselves and get out there? And it goes for everything, really. Even if you're a yoga teacher, that obviously applies to you. If you're looking for a career in, any public career, even social media influencer, You're always on stage. Like, you have to get over yourself at some point if you're in your head, which, I mean, I know I was for sure. I don't know about you, like how, but so.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, let's just first start with like, have you ever had an anxiety performing? And if you had, what did you do to overcome it? Because obviously, I mean, now you don't, or at least you don't look like you do.
I absolutely did have anxiety performing when I first started. I mean, it's interesting because it's like it's something that you dream of and you work so hard towards. And when you first start, when you're first on stage, you get butterflies. And there are moments where I would even think, oh my God, I don't even know how to catch a beat right now. Get it together, Kim. And especially I remember my first aerial performance too. I was like shaking. I was like, ah. And to be honest, in the beginning, I didn't know how to deal with that. I would forget to breathe. I didn't
Have you ever messed up?
Messed up as in trip, fall? No.
As in, like, not catching something, lighting something on fire?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh, that would be fun though.
Yeah. What I have done is maybe like in my head, I'll think, oh my God, I didn't do this trick correctly.
Okay.
But I've learned that
nobody knows.
No, I've learned that if you just keep smiling through your whole performance, nobody knows and everyone just loves that you're smiling because you're enjoying it.
It's true for well, not for everything. But it's true for most things. Like what we're talking about here, yoga for sure. I mean, nobody knows what you thought you were supposed to do, even like what is it that you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I actually before, when I was a teenager, I don't know if I ever mentioned it to you, but I was a professional swimmer. And so competitions and all that stuff, I had the worst anxiety doing those competitions. I was a pretty good swimmer, but it was not my calling. By the way, I think that's one of the things. If it's your calling, you'll find a way to get over it.
Yeah.
But when it's not your calling, I was just miserable. Every competition, I was absolutely miserable. And I remember those stories when I asked you if you ever messed up, because I literally had those moments when I drowned. Twice.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, they had me get out of the pool. Again, keep in mind, professional swimmer, like professionally trained and whatnot. And I would just start. I would jump in the water and just sink.
She just forgot how to swim. She's like, I don't know how to do this anymore. Frozen. Yeah. Okay, that's the worst. At least I'm up on land or in the air, so I have air. You're just like full send to the bottom. That's funny.
No, but I mean, also given that I was pretty little at that time, like I was probably like 11, maybe like 11, 12. So it was like junior competitions kind of thing.
That's a very young year to get through what they call, stage fright.
Yeah.
I feel like, so when you ask if I've ever messed up, in the beginning, I feel like because I was so anxious, I wouldn't exactly go to my 100,000% potential, so I couldn't mess up because I was just overthinking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would see it in videos too. When I look at my videos performing, I would think, man, I could have extended that arm out more. My mess ups came from when I got comfortable. I remember when I fell on stilts. It was on Groove Cruise. Groove Cruise is like a super huge house music festival on a cruise ship for 72 straight hours. And I remember still walking on the deck, and I remember taking one step, and all of a sudden I just fell and slid into a split on my stilts. And
my God.
Yeah, thank God I had my split. And everyone thought I did it on purpose because I had a split. I'm like, I messed up. I did a boo-boo. Can someone help me back up? And my poor assistant, my assistant is like trying with her might to like lift me up. And I'm like, can we get some extra assistance? Next thing you know, this like huge dude comes up behind me, grabs me by the waist, and just whoop, brings me up, and everyone starts clapping.
And it's like it was a part of the performance, I guess. Like everybody enjoyed it, huh?
That was definitely a first. I was like, well, now I know I can fall into a split.
Yeah, well,
I guess it was safer than falling forward.
Probably, yes. Especially if you have a split. Wow.
Because they always say when you're on stilts, you don't want to fall forward because then you'll smash your knees or your face, but you don't want to fall back because then you'll smash your ass.
Like I always wanted to try dancing. That was like,
I'll teach you.
Yes, one day, one day.
Yeah,
Yeah, first I just have to learn how to dance. That's like another thing.
I'll teach you too.
Just like moving. Well, again, that should come pretty naturally though, right? Yoga and stuff. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
you
We'll
have your
see.
flow. It's a flow
Yeah,
state.
it is.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You have to become comfortable. When you become comfortable, it looks great. Before you become comfortable, it looks horrible, and it's true for everything. Like because you're just so kind of, I don't know, how do you call it? Stiff. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you're learning how to be comfortable with your body in front of people because you alone or you in a studio practicing is different.
Yeah.
But when the spotlight's on you, you're like, oh, everyone's watching me.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
And it's an adrenaline too. It's like so high and it feels so good. And at the same time, also kind of nerve-wracking because you're like, oh my God, I feel like the superstar, but also everyone's watching every movement I do.
Yep. But the good thing is actually what I've, again, unless you're drowning, usually, usually once you start, and that was actually also true in the most of my competitions, once you start, you actually, it just flows because it's something that you've trained yourself to do so much, at least, right? Not even, if you're not a pro yet, or like if you're just starting, you can't. But your body remembers, or if we're talking about, teaching yoga or like doing something where you have to speak, I don't know, you just remember, your brain remembers that. And it's really not, it's much easier than we tend to think it is. But then, yes, overthinking part comes. And when I first started teaching, I sincerely thought that every single person, well, first, obviously, like you have to start, like you have butterflies in your stomach, and it's crazy scary. Even though those people who are starting to teach yoga, you'll understand me. When you first start teaching, it's like one or two people show up to your class because like nobody knows your name or like your class or anything.
What's that feeling like? Because now you have a very intimate, you're pretty much teaching a private to the public. It's even more intimate. So how is that compared to a large class for your first time?
You know what? So large class, it's more energy. So it's a little bit more energy exchange. And when we're talking about smaller class, it's less energy. And if you know those people, if you're becoming kind of intimate with them, then it's great. But if you don't know those people, and because the way that I see the class from, a teacher's point, and the way that a person who's taken the class sees the class, it's completely different points of view. So, and I know it because I do take classes as well, right? I go to a class and I really don't care, like I care about my practice. And then when you're teaching a class, you care about other people's practices. So basically, I'm more open. I'm kind of integrating myself into those people's practices, if that makes any sense, more. And they are, unless if it's a big group, it's just like the energetic wave is just there. But if it's a small group, the energy exchange is just not happening. So it's actually pretty difficult to teach like one or two people, unless it's like your private students that you actually know. So when you first start, by the way, that's like an added kind of challenge, I guess. But then you have to speak, and obviously like you start messing up and you kind of try to like overcome those butterflies and you forget everything and it can be a whole loads of mess. But if anyone who's listening to it is going through that, that's actually so normal and it is so okay. And I think that once you truly believe that it's okay to mess up, that's when you start getting better. Before we dive deeper into the episode, just a little reminder for you guys to check out yogawithalina.com for my full library of yoga classes, tutorials, courses, and so much more. And for your convenience, I optimized all the classes for all devices so that you can flow through the flows from your phone, computer, TV, whenever, wherever you want. Start your free trial today and test it all out. I hope to see you on the mat very, very soon. Let's dive deeper into the episode. when you let
Mhm.
go and when you relax, right? Because even like what you were
Mhm.
saying, your arm, you were not extending your arm fully. Like that's the tension. You're just
Yeah,
being
you're
tense.
just stressing yourself out, but you're creating this image in your head, an
Mm-hmm.
image that you think people see, but it's really something that you make up.
It's really about what you see. And
Yeah.
like you're trying to live up to the standard of what you see, which is that image doesn't really exist. It exists in your
Yeah.
head. So
Yes.
everybody's head is different and everybody has their own image. And by the way, most likely you are fitting that image that people come to you for.
Yeah.
That's why they do come to you. And that's very difficult to kind of come to when you're inside that anxiety, but when you
Mm-hmm.
get out of it, that becomes so clear.
Yeah, and that's why people are drawn to you.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, you're always placed in an area, like, the universe always gives you what you're ready for.
Yeah.
So, if the universe is giving you this amazing opportunity, and you're so nervous about it, we start getting in our heads, and we have to just breathe and remind ourselves, like, no, I'm given this because I was ready for it, because I was meant for it. And all of that goes back into also just reassuring yourself and your confidence as well. It's like you
Yeah.
have it in you. And but to not let the anxiety take over it, like remember to be secure in yourself. And I love that you talked about making mistakes too, because mistakes are beautiful. You know, it's just
They
life. It's
are.
the frequencies of life, up and down. In the moment, we can let it overtake us, but without mistakes, we wouldn't be progressing as we are now.
For sure.
And it goes the same for also when you're starting off as a performer. When I first started off, I got so many no's. I was horrible at auditions. I really didn't know how to keep a beat. So many no's. And I would send out so many emails to castings because it was just my dream to perform for festivals and the best nightclubs in Miami. My dream was to just perform for all my favorite house music artists. But I would get no responses, or I would attend auditions, which I was shaking as well too.
Of course.
Like, and you, that's the thing, you have to keep attending auditions to shake off that anxiety and stress until it just becomes a little more innate in you. But through all those no's that I got, I would always use them to revel me in the yeses. And I would ask for constructive criticism too. That's how you learn.
I mean, for me, that is a tricky one. I like constructive criticism, but what I learned is that not a lot of people know how to give constructive criticism. And a lot of times it becomes a person just putting it, not even intentionally, but just telling you what's wrong with you. And here's the thing, here's an idea, nothing is wrong with you. That is something that that I want everyone to remember and understand and just kind of, I don't know, engrave it in your mind. You're okay. Everything is okay with you. So whenever somebody starts telling you that there's something wrong with you or starts listing things, because I've had it in my life, I had people telling me like the list of things that is wrong with me. And I'm saying this right now, by the way, I'm just like, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying it because I'm over it. But even remembering that, it's not nice. And it really pushes your confidence down in a lot of ways. So unless you're like super, super confident, or unless you know how to differentiate. Yeah, am I saying that? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a difficult word for me to say right now. By the way, okay, so whoever is confused, we're filming this on October 31st.
Halloween.
Yes, and this is Monday after this whole Halloween weekend, which was fun for both of us. We're not gonna lie.
Very
So
eventful.
we are. Well, it wasn't that eventful for me, but it was fun nevertheless. Um,
I have to thank Alina for this matcha. I really needed it. I'm honestly on 3 hours of sleep right now.
yeah, she told me good
No
morning.
regret.
It's 4 p.m. So yes, okay, going back to that word, differentiate.
Yeah.
I'm really amazed at myself. So unless you know how to do that, and understand where a person is actually giving you constructive criticism versus where they're just putting you down personally, I would actually not ask for constructive criticism. Again, maybe from a person that I really respect and really look up to, and like I know that I can take it. And at this point in my life, I have enough confidence that on certain topics, I would ask for for a feedback, and I would be okay with that. Whatever comes, I will be able to separate, what I can take in and what I should just kind of leave as it is. But yeah, so that's just kind of like a side note, I guess, because I have had those moments when it's like, person is telling me, and I'm like, okay.
They're just stabbing you down.
Yeah.
Well, man, I'm really sorry you experienced that.
You've never had that?
I can honestly say, when I first started, yes, I will say one of my first constructive criticisms when I was auditioning for go-go dancing for the first time was very mean, but it hurt.
Yeah.
Honestly, it did hurt. I was like, oh my God, I suck. But then after a moment, it's my own emotional responsibility to not take it personally. And there's a sort of emotional intelligence with that, because there are people who can just really be a little snarky and a little feisty, and they will just talk like that. And then there are people who also just don't know how to communicate, and it just comes off rash and abrasive. So although there were moments where it was very mean, I still took what they said because I wanted to improve and get better, because regardless, however they feel about me is their own emotions, and I will just take their criticism as, okay, so you're just saying this is what I need to fix. Everything is temporary. Your skill set, your strategy, whatever you know now is temporary, because it all improves and changes.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But no, it takes a lot of emotional intelligence. And I'll be honestly,
especially in a cutthroat industry.
I have only started developing that for myself maybe a year and a half ago, and I just started. And also, again, I say a lot on this podcast that yoga is, in general, what I do right now, right? Teaching yoga is very different for me than anything else I've done in my life, because I'm very confident in that. I have the worst imposter syndrome about pretty much everything except for yoga. If that makes, I know it makes perfect sense.
Yoga is like your safe haven.
But this is, yes, and that was from the very beginning. Even when I was still, worried about my classes and just kind of, just starting my journey, that still felt very, very natural. So for some reason, this is when we talk about yoga, my emotional intelligence is really high up there. But if we're talking about something else, right, it becomes very difficult for me, because I'm not so confident in myself in those areas, or I might not be that confident, right? I'm definitely, over the last year, I've grown way more confidence in, social media. But before, and now is when I start getting, I'm actually talking to someone kind of like improving, right? But even to reach out for that advice, it took me a long time, because now I can take it. And she told me some things. I'm like, okay, yes, I'm willing to work on like improving this we're going to keep exactly as it is, because I know exactly why I'm doing this. So
yes.
And where I'm confident enough to understand what I can take in and what I should leave as it is, I'm gonna ask for advice. But where I know that I'm not that confident, I'm gonna keep my mental health in check, because therapists are not cheap these days.
It's good that you have a therapist.
I do, of course.
I have not found one yet, but I do have an amazing life coach and an astrologist.
Yeah, I have an astrologist too.
Yes.
I don't have a life coach though.
A life coach helps so much.
Really?
Honestly,
What did they do? Tell me.
Well, so fun fact, you are actually 70% more likely, no, you're more likely to achieve 70% of your goals in the year with a life coach.
Okay.
Because they're like your accountability partner in a sense. And every life coach works differently. Mine, for example, she's very all about women empowerment and helping women live their dreams and just be in their goddess
Are you
full
gonna
form
share her
self.
contact with me?
Yeah, her name is Steph.
Here in Miami?
Yes, here in
Oh my
Miami.
God.
Yeah, and so I like her because she's always asking me questions that help me make my own decisions. She doesn't tell you what to do. She asks what your goals are and she helps me strategize them.
Mm-hmm.
But she helps me strategize them by asking me questions on how I would like to strategize them. And then after each session, it actually helps me with making decisions swifter, quicker, better for myself. And also now the manifestation power after my sessions with her are off the walls.
Yeah.
And fun fact, Steph actually was one of the first people to hire me in Miami because she used to be my entertainment director 7 years
Wow.
ago. When people didn't want me, I went to her and she told me too, Kim, you came to me with 2 left feet, but who was I to tell you no? You had a dream and a passion. Who am I going to tell you no? So I gave you a chance.
I
And she
love
gave
that.
me constructive criticism in a nice way. She would tell me, like, I think it'll be helpful if you take some dance classes and studios and heels. And she taught me to watch makeup YouTube videos and also presents. She told me things to do on how I can pose better, even because as a
Mm-hmm.
performer, you have to take pictures.
Yeah,
And
you
you're like,
do.
yeah, especially when you work with entertainment companies too. Like, it's actually part of our job. We have to take pictures in the costume. But all of that too, like learning how to pose with all this crazy stuff on you, or even pose in general for a
Without it
photo.
overshadowing you, because that's a huge thing.
Exactly. That was a skill I had to learn. It's it's not something as simple as just let me stand here and take a picture. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you have to be in that character of who you are and what you are in this costume that you are.
And this is where personality shows so much. Like, if you don't have that, I don't even know, authenticity, I guess, right? Like that strong presence, everything around you is just going to overshadow you. It's a huge thing.
Yes, and it shows in your photos as well, the confidence too.
Yeah, shows
It's
so much.
it's nice. So you want to learn something cute and and quick that
Go
I
for
learned from
it.
her? Okay, so in posing, it's very natural that we want to put our hands on our hips.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned that if you actually put your hands here on your waist, yeah, it accentuates your waist smaller. Yeah.
Okay.
And then like if you just kind of lean a little bit,
All
it gives it
right.
attitude. Yeah.
Nice.
That's something.
And also, I always like to do like this with the shoulder, like with shoulders, just to kind of pop the collarbones a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to see those
Just
collarbones.
like a little bit, yeah.
Oh my God, she's flossing.
There you go.
Yes,
Little posing for you guys. If you're not watching it, if you're just listening to it, watch it. Watch it on YouTube as well. And yeah, it's interesting because I never really thought about life coach, but when you just mentioned it, I just last week in my therapy session, we were talking about, people in your life and like what position they take. And I realized for myself that a lot of times, so I feel the most confident and I feel my best when I'm with my team, with people that I work with, because I feel like I'm not alone. And then the rest of the time, I feel like I'm surrounded by a lot of people and I have a lot of friends um, around me, but it always, in a lot of ways, it feels like it's me in the ocean and I'm just there and that's it. Like, it's just, that's it. But when I'm with my team, with people who I'm working with, it feels like there's someone stable next to me, like almost that, I don't even know how to call it. My therapy sessions are in Russian. So I don't even
like
know
a
how
lifesaver.
No. Like, this the wooden sticks that they put like in, not usually not in the ocean, like in the sea to break the waves.
No.
So that's kind of like
Not at all.
Okay, well, okay. We'll Google it later. I don't know how to call them. But it's like, this like strong, stable thing that is like around me that I can kind of like hold on to. So
It's a
it's not,
support.
it's essentially, it's just a support. Yes, it's
need
not
that.
as scary. Like, it's not as scary. So when you mention a life coach, I'm like, maybe that's, that I can see how that can be that support, just kind of someone who is checking in. And because we know, like, we know everything. We don't necessarily need to learn anything. We just
Mm-hmm.
have to we just have to see things that we don't
Yes.
see because we're too close to them. And then
Yes.
whoever is outside, they can see so much better.
And
And
there's a perspective, like, there's a perspective growth in having a life coach too,
mm-hmm,
because we get so much in our heads.
yes.
And having a life coach, she has helped me see things differently. And we have sessions once a week for 2 hours.
Oh wow.
And in those 2 hours, I feel like my heart has opened up so much, and my mind has also opened up so much to all the possibilities that even after those sessions, I can catch myself quicker and flip my perspective
Mm-hmm.
when I feel down.
Yeah. That makes so much sense, honestly. And all those things, like when you become more confident, when you become calmer, because for me it's a huge thing, that's when the anxiety steps down and you're able to actually perform. And again, doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter what we're talking, even just a corporate job.
Yeah.
That's still, you have to do presentations, or at least, I mean, you want to get to the point where you have to do presentations.
Yeah.
And being scared of doing that, and a lot of times, is what's stopping you from giving it 100%. Literally, just like in the performance. It's so funny how it's always the same. It doesn't really matter what we're talking about, be that like performing, yoga, corporate, or
Yeah.
whatever else. It's essentially
It's still your
all the
performance.
same.
Yeah.
So it's how you carry yourself around, and in this world, and how you present yourself to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and thinking about that, I remember that event where we met. You were talking about being your authentic self, and like being, yes,
Authenticity. I
yes.
love that subject.
And I think that ties into this conversation a lot as well, because
Mm.
once you know who you are, and because you can't be anyone else.
It's
You
knowing
cannot.
your value and accepting it, no matter who likes it or who doesn't. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and fully accepting. Like, it's funny you mentioned that because lately I've been thinking, have you ever felt that you're too much for some
Oh
people?
yeah.
Yeah, whether it's something that you say or an action you do, you ever feel like I'm too much? And it could be even with your close friends or your partner. But really, no, your too muchness is your magic.
Yeah.
And when you can just accept that that's part of your
It's
value,
scary. Actually, like
it's vulnerable.
feeling too much is so scary.
Yes, but that's kind of where it's like, wait, but that's what makes us us. And if we can fully embrace that, embody that, and understand that that's part of our value and part of our magic, that also goes into being your full authentic self with people.
Yeah.
It's like you're not too much for yourself, and you're not too much for the people who are meant to be with you.
It's also kind of that image that we're talking about, the image in your head that you're trying to fulfill. So when you have that image based on you, that's when you can actually get to that image. I'm just thinking about it right now. I actually never thought about it, because the problem is, and on this podcast, I had my very first teacher, Amanda. I don't remember which episode. I think it was like the third episode. And I remember when I first started, and by the way, like if you are thinking about taking a teacher training or anything, you just have to expect that you're gonna become a teacher very close in style, and like very close in presentation and everything, to the teacher that you're studying from. So for me, and that's why you have to choose not the program really, but the teacher, because you have to choose the person. I always think that.
That's pretty much your mentor.
Yeah.
So everything you learn passes into your
Exactly.
practice too. From there, you make it your own.
It can be like the most famous training, but if you don't resonate with a teacher, with someone who actually gives you the information, presents that information, it's not gonna work for you for sure.
With the same values that you believe in as well.
Exactly. And so for me, what I'm thinking about right now is how when I first started teaching, she was in my head as that picture, right? Because that's that's the person that you look up to the most, and I'm not her, right? So it's impossible. I can't be that picture in my head. And no matter how much, I would try. And the good thing again, yoga was kind of feeling I felt very natural in this, and I felt very much in the flow state. So very I stopped having that particular image very, very early on, and I started kind of taking from a lot of different teachers and understanding that, okay, I like this is me, this is mine, I can take it. Or like, and this is not this I'm not going to take it. So eventually just kind of I put the puzzle pieces together to fit the picture that became authentically me. And so it was a process, definitely, but I feel like for me it was a pretty quick process. But yes,
You turned it into your own.
I turned it into my own. I took from a lot of different. In that episode, I also talk about different teachers who kind of influenced my teaching. And for example, with Amanda, right? She, I guess, the structure of the class and kind of like, I think she was the biggest influence, anyways. But I definitely teach much slower. I have more, I would say, more fluid transitions, more dance-like transitions. Those, because yoga classes has been my way of implementing dance into my life, which has never been in my life, and I always wanted to be in my life. So that's how that's how I see yoga for me, like a yoga practice.
Beautiful.
Yes, you have to come practice. Well, you took that little tiny class.
No, I need to take a full class from
you. Need to come and take a full
I found
class.
out that you actually teach at my gym too. I'm like, wow.
Come on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, Thursday night I teach there.
Perfect.
So yeah, we can do that.
Oh, I can't wait to flow into.
I'm assuming Saturday night in the morning would not work for you, but.
Listen, we made it here on a Monday. It's the life of the performer.
Well, it's 4 p.m. I mean, it's the end of the day for me. I'll be honest. Like, I taught a class at 6 in the morning.
Oh,
no, 7. Not 6. I woke up at 6.
Hallelujah to you. Good for you, girl. Good for you. At 6 in the morning, I was dancing to amazing house music at Space.
I live right next to Space.
Oh my gosh. Come.
So we're just next door.
Oh my God, come celebrate the sunrise with us.
I was waking up and I was having my water with chlorophyll, whatever drops. And this girl over here was dancing her ass off just across the street pretty much.
For fun. So this is how my day is. Like, typically people always ask me,
and then we're here together.
Yes. You keep working. So people typically will ask me like, oh, what's your schedule like? What are your days like? And I'm like, they really vary. They're spontaneous. It's a mix of pleasure and work. So for example, yesterday I did my fire show. And then after my fire show, that ended around 9:30, I went to my friend's art warehouse and we made art. I brought like one of my baby purses and we painted it. Made art till 2-3 a.m. And then
I want to be a part of that party.
Yeah.
That's my jam for sure.
Okay, you're invited to the next one for sure.
Yes,
oh
please.
Yes, we love creatives. And that's the great thing. Like, as creatives, that's why it's hard to sleep. You just keep feeding off of it.
Yeah.
It's like a juice that keeps flowing and flowing. Like, why would I sleep? I feel like I'm missing out. My energy's too high. So we're making art until 2:33 a.m. He has a flight at 7 a.m. And he tells me, Kim, before you leave, remind me I have a flight at 7 a.m. I'm like, okay. Me and my friend Heidi, we're getting dressed in our costume to go to the Halloween music festival, Hocus Pocus, in Hialeah, created by Space. And we go there to enjoy. And then from Hocus Pocus, we decide, well, let's keep it going and celebrate sunrise, Halloween, full sun in the morning at Space on the Terrace till 9 a.m. So it's like you get your work in, and then you have your creative artist release, and then you dance it out and celebrate life.
Yeah.
And it's
always about balance, really. It's funny because a lot of people look at me or like fitness professionals or people in the wellness industry. I don't know why, but I see you as a person in the wellness industry for some reason. I don't even know why, but that's how I see you.
Because I get my work done, maybe.
Yeah,
Because I fill
maybe.
my heart up. Even if I slept 3 hours, I want to be here for this
There you go.
podcast.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, like, oh my God, I gotta speak on it. I gotta be human in 3 hours because of this. But these are the things, like, you keep filling your cup up. You do the things that fill your heart up, the things that you want to grow and progress.
Yeah.
And, like, this is a moment for me to connect with you too, Alina. And I believe that human connection is the greatest currency.
It's
That
everything.
is your greatest
It is
currency.
everything.
Yes. And everyone's different. You know, you find what flow works for you. For me, I'm a night owl. I started off go-go dancing. I stopped go-go dancing earlier this year, and I literally thought, oh, I'm going to sleep earlier. No, it's ingrained in my blood now.
That's the thing. You do not apologize. And that's for everyone listening and watching. Do not apologize for what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Because we are bombarded with all these healthy routines and people who are saying that they are living a healthy lifestyle. But the truth is, nobody knows what lifestyle would be healthy for you, except for you. So if, it feels great for me to wake up at 6 in the morning. I did not get there. By the way, my mom, I might have mentioned this on the podcast already, but my mom, she says that ever since I was a baby, I would always wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning. And then I do not remember. I was a baby back then, apparently. But and then the school started, right? And like I didn't really feel like going to school in the morning. So it was really hard for me to wake up. And then college started, and well, that was just a lot of partying. And well, I went to University of Miami, so it's it
Oh.
was it was good time. And definitely no time for sleep, and definitely would not be a popular thing to do around my group of friends, to wake up at 6 in the morning, because nobody would even go to sleep at that time yet. But yeah, and I was leading that kind of lifestyle. But then when I transitioned into am I an adult? I'm like adult right now.
She's
Dude,
adulting.
I'm an adult.
She's
No, I've been
adulting.
like for a while now.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. I was talking to a guy friend from college about 3 days ago or so, and I realized, well, we haven't seen each other in 8 years, but we actually had like a business meeting. We've known each other for 10 years, and we met first year of college. So we're talking like adults, and we're talking about business, and we're asking each other opinion, and like disregarding completely, like we've done crazy stuff. Anyways, it was surreal, and I was looking at that. We had a Zoom meeting, and I was looking at my computer, and I'm like, oh my God, we're adults. Like, we're actual adults. But yeah, back to what I was saying. And then eventually I transitioned into waking up super early in the morning. And people are like, how do you do this? But again, mom says that it has always been my nature, which might be. I also kind of trained myself because of the lifestyle that I chose and what was making me feel good. Fitness, yoga. I love sunsets, but I do enjoy sunrises. Like, I actually really, really love them. And I feel better when I'm rested, when I've had enough sleep. I didn't have enough sleep over the last week, and I'm gonna be catching up on my sleep this week. Like, it's on my itinerary. It's not even a joke. Like, I have it on my to-do list to catch up on my sleep.
She writes down in her calendar, go to sleep by 10 p.m.
Yes. No, my phone shuts off
It's a non-negotiable.
9:15 my phone shuts down. Like, I have this sleep thing
Sleep
set up. Yeah.
nice.
So that at 10 I have to go to sleep. Well, I don't have to, but I do usually.
It's the goal.
Yeah, but that feels good for me. It's probably not going to feel good for you. And if you start trying to do this, that's not going to make you feel happy.
No, because it goes against your nature. Like, your body
Exactly.
knows. I used to try and go to sleep by 11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually I just learned and accepted, no, my body just, it can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The way it works is it can be in bed by 11, 12, but it won't actually fall asleep until 1, 2 a.m.
And you're
2
just
a.m.
wasting your time. You're just wasting what could have been a really, even if it's just like self-care, if it's just like doing nothing is self-care too. But you're just trying to be someone else, someone you saw on like social media, or same with all this, by the way, I love breakfast,
Mm.
but I also know people who cannot eat breakfast. Like they're
That's
just not.
me.
There you go.
I,
There you go.
not,
So, I
yeah.
mean, yes, it's like people say that it's healthy to eat breakfast, but no, if you stuff your face in the morning, you'll feel like shit. And I know, like, I know people who, who are trying to do, and that just all goes back to being authentically self and like unapologetically self with everything. Like, know yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
once you know yourself, you no longer have to look up to unrealistic picture of what you think you should be. And you
Yes.
actually understand who you can be.
Yeah.
And then you can actually fulfill that picture in pretty much everything, right? In every performance of your life, whatever it can be.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I love that you mentioned the appetite and eating schedule thing because, there's all these different methods of eating and health.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's intermittent fasting and windows. And I remember trying to do a specific schedule of, stop eating after 10 and wait till the morning.
Yeah.
But then I would find myself burning all these calories, working 3 gigs in a day. And eventually I'm like, Kim, why are we doing this to ourselves? This is this does not work for your
No.
lifestyle and your performance career right now. This doesn't work. You have to eat at 3 a.m., Kim. That's
Yeah.
just good. That's good. Your breakfast, I've learned to accept my breakfast is at 3 a.m. for me.
And that's okay. I've actually had that. I have like shaky relationships with food. It has been much, much, much better over the last like few years. And then this past, I don't know, like 6 months or something, I'm getting very heavy into intuitive eating. And I realized that for me, I have to stop putting boundaries on eating schedule and like stop saying that, okay, this is breakfast, this is lunch, this is dinner. So once I stopped doing that and I could just listen to my body and eat whenever I actually wanted to, I do have those days or those nights. I wake up in the middle of the night, I go to sleep early, I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, I need to eat. And that's okay. I had it a couple of weeks ago. I
Like,
woke
I'm
up.
hungry.
Yes, I was dying.
It's like a baby.
I do, thank God I do meal plan delivery. So I always have like pretty healthy and really delicious food in my fridge.
I need to get the contact for your service.
Oh my God,
that.
yes, it's incredible. It is incredible. I'll give you all the information.
Homegirl has no time to cook.
Yeah, no, that has been a game changer. I've been doing it since April. And yeah, it's just incredible. So basically, I always have something in my fridge. They deliver 3 times a week, so it's always fresh. You just put it in the microwave for like a minute and a half, and that's it. You're ready to eat. And no guilt, obviously, because I know that it's good food. But yes, I had those moments. And obviously, like, if I eat at 3 a.m., I wake up, I'm not hungry, and that's okay. I do not need breakfast, and that's fine. And actually, I do not even need coffee. Because usually if I had something at 3 in the morning, come on, like seriously. But then, like the day starts and like towards 1 p.m. I start like, okay, I'm hungry. I want to eat again. And it's like, what? What is it? Is it breakfast? Is it lunch? But who cares?
Yeah,
It
it's just
doesn't
feeding your
matter.
soul.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're just eating. And then like it's obviously all thrown off. And then a couple of days later it just like catches up to being the traditional breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then it just goes in those really weird circles again. And just going with it. Just doing whatever feels best for you. This is gonna be the healthiest thing.
Flow with it.
Yeah.
Flow with that.
For sure.
Authenticity.
It is. And I'm gonna keep saying it, you have to own it because those things, you can't apologize for what makes you feel good and what makes you feel happy. And even if somebody else says that it's wrong, who are they to say it's wrong? If it makes you feel good, I mean, unless we're talking about something like illegal or something like this.
Something that harms you.
Yeah, something that harms you or somebody else.
Truly harms you or someone else around you, yes.
Yes. Otherwise, it's no one else's business. You're just being yourself.
Yeah. And if you don't accept that and be yourself, you're always going to find yourself trying to please your imagination and please this perspective that you want to fulfill in others
Mm-hmm.
versus your own self. And that's very unfulfilling. And that's actually what holds you back from your goals and your dreams.
It's funny, circling back to performing, like we always think about performing for other people, but the truth is, from what you just said, it's like honestly, like we're performing for ourselves. It's us.
Mm-hmm.
It's for no one else. And I think that can actually if you truly start believing and understanding it through your core, that's when anxiety goes. It should go away at least.
Yeah, it's a medal of both. When you first do it, well, you go in to perform because you want to do it for yourself, of course. Like, this is what I want to do. This is the life I want to create. And you get on stage and you do it for yourself. And as you feel the people's energies, you also do it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was actually, I had posted a video on Instagram about 3 key elements of being a performer.
Okay.
And the last element was talking about how when you mess up on stage, because it's so easy to mess up and show that you messed up. Like, oh, I did that, but nobody knows. And in that, I talk about how if you mess up, just keep going and enjoy the moment because everyone is watching you and they're enjoying watching you do something that they don't know how to do. They are living in this fantasy world that you are being in.
You're creating.
Yes.
You're
And
creating
they're
this fantasy
enjoying
world for
that.
them.
Yeah. So just enjoy that. Get over the moment when you mess up and keep going with a full out because not only you're performing for them and they're watching you, but you're also doing it for yourself. Keep enjoying this moment. It's this connection with you and the audience together for 4 minutes. You only have 4 minutes.
That's it.
That's it. Make the best
This is
of the
actually
minutes.
how so I do a lot of online classes, right? And we're recording, and we're always recording classes in one take. That has always been the thing. And I always tell guys not to edit out anything that whatever I mess, unless I think there was like once when I said, okay, we're gonna have to edit this out because like 30 mess up in
like
a
it's
row.
just too bad.
Yeah, no, it's just really, really bad.
We're just burning people's time.
Yeah,
I think
but
people appreciate the little skips too.
so I do what I do. Like every time I say something wrong, I laugh it off. I actually say like I say like, okay, I can say the wrong side or the wrong body parts. Or something else.
That's admirable.
Yeah, and then even during the live class, I have those moments where I'm like, okay, you know what, guys, just bear with me today. Apparently, I did not know anatomy today, so you're just going with it, okay? Just be here,
and that's authentic.
Just stay with me.
Yeah, that's authentic.
Yeah,
I love that.
And just owning that.
Yeah, that's true perfectionism.
Everybody is like. Everybody messes up.
Yeah.
So what? And I teach classes super early in the morning. Like tomorrow I'm going to have 7:30 a.m., which is one of my favorite classes ever because whoever comes to the class, they actually mean business.
Yeah, they're starting their day with you and they're making the choice to share that energy with you. It's an energetic exchange.
And it's a huge responsibility too, and I love it. Like we have amazing connection with that group of people for sure, and it's mostly the same people, obviously, because like that's you have to schedule those things for yourself, but so yeah, in that class, oh my God, I'm just like sometimes I come in and I'm ready to go. But there are times when I come into that class and I'm like, all right, guys, I am sleeping. I'm not even going to lie. I'm sleeping right now. So, let's see where it takes us. I cannot even tell you where I'm going to take you, but let's see where it takes us. So being honest, not just, with yourself, right? Knowing yourself and like being honest and all that stuff, but being honest with people, it takes away the anxiety. It takes away when you start just laughing it off, people understand. They're there for you if you let them. If you just let them in.
Let them in, and it goes to being vulnerable as well, like making them aware and letting them know where your headspace is at. Yeah. And it connects them to you immediately before your class starts. They're there with you. Yeah.
And it's just once you created that connection, there's no room for anxiety anymore because
you shake off your own expectations that they have, because really they have none.
They have none.
They have none. People have no expectations from you. like it's just what you set on yourself or
That's
what you think they
you,
do?
yeah. All the
Yeah.
expectations are for you, and
Yeah.
even the classes that I taught actually in the last week, I think I taught two of my worst classes in my career.
Oh, really? What happened?
Well, so the first class it was actually at Exhale, and I'm not even gonna sugarcoat anything. So
Okay.
basically, I ended up having 12 people in the class, and it's a small room, so it's a full class for that space. But I started, and I was start and finish on time, and I started the class, and it was only 4 people there. And the rest of 8 people were showing up not just late, they were showing up in a very loud manner, in a very so when I teach, I put my mat kind of like perpendicular to the entire room so that everybody can see my whole body. So the last guy who came in 15 minutes later, no joke, he, by the way, after that studio, they're not allowing anyone in after 5 minutes. Like, we had a huge conversation about that. So anyways, this guy comes in. Keep in mind, I already had like 7 people coming in, super loud and like throwing me off. I never take it personally, but when it's so much, it's too much.
Yeah.
And he puts his mat in the middle of the room, perpendicular to the entire freaking class. And I'm teaching. In the middle of my teaching, I'm cueing, and in between my cues, I'm trying to explain to the person that he kind of has to, like, adjust a little bit.
That sounds like a flow fuck up. Tell me he was not fucking up your flow.
So basically, it threw me off, and I was stumbling like upon my words completely. But what's even worse, like, I was so angry. I was so angry with the whole class. But with all that said, actually, people who took it and who are usually in my classes, they actually enjoyed it. And they said it was a really fun class, except for the distractions of the people coming in late. Right. But I was just like, I got out of that class, I went straight to like get a bottle of wine, and I'm like, that's it. Like, that's it. Thank God it was evening. If it was in the morning, I would have done the same thing, and we would have a problem.
To get a bottle of wine out of that.
Seriously, I'm like, that's it. And then literally the next day, I start. It wasn't my first class. It wasn't right after. It was like a class after that. Also, quite a lot of people in the class. I don't remember how many. Different space. Usually amazing class. And then something happens, and like, people are just not responding to the words that I'm saying. And I don't even know, like, when you say lift your arm and everyone is just staying still, and you just say it again and everyone is just staying still. It went to the point where in the middle of the class I was like, okay, I'm turning the music off because I'm assuming you guys cannot hear me. I turned it was not the music thing. It was not that it was just like no connect. I don't even know how the hell that happened. But yeah, so you get those times. Apparently that happens. And I wasn't really doubting myself that much, but I was just so angry with those classes. But yeah, not every class is your best class, and sometimes, but again, you're still, by the way, I still was on the stage. I still had to go. I couldn't just say, okay, you're on your own, which I actually wanted. At some point I was like, you know what, just do your thing,
do whatever you want.
I'm done, like, whatever.
You're still doing your performance. You can't express that you're angry. You just gotta keep,
but you're still, I knew I had to remind myself who I am in that moment and what I do, and just keep going, adjust.
You have to have patience.
Adjust my expectations and just say, like, okay, I'm doing this right now no longer for them, because I do not connect with those people. Whatever I'm doing right now, I'm doing for myself, and I'm going to try and enjoy it as much as I can. But that was a difficult performance-wise situation. Yes, not fun. But yeah, we're almost running out of time. Can you imagine? It's like, I don't,
Oh my
yeah.
God, I could talk forever.
I know.
It's so
That's
fun.
usually what happens here.
So
I mean,
fun.
this place doesn't have time somehow, but
What is time?
yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
No, time is just time is an illusion. Whatever. But okay, before we close everything, if you can give one advice how to overcome anxiety of performing, what would it be?
How to overcome anxiety while performing.
Or before performing?
Number one, breathe. That's something I didn't know when I first started. I would just get shaky and I would go out. But really, like, take a moment before you go out. Take 5 minutes to yourself and just take deep breaths.
Yeah.
And remind yourself that you got this. Everything you did led you up to here. It doesn't mean that you're just, it doesn't mean that that's going to completely cancel the butterflies that you get when you go on stage, but it'll
Which
help
is okay.
you.
The butterflies are
Yeah.
not a bad thing.
No, but when you learn to breathe, you're transmuting your emotions of anxiety
Yeah.
into calm and peace and security. So that's probably the most important thing. And I know it can sound so easy, like just breathe. But
I
no, it's
actually
something we
know when
forget.
I asked you, I was like, okay, after you say, I'm gonna say my advice. So mine would have been breathe. So
Yeah.
we covered that.
Yeah, and that's what removes the mental blocks, because what you're doing is you're starting to cloud your mind with these mental blocks you have. And that's something that I talk about in my performer course too. The
Mhm.
first section of my performer course that I'm launching in January talks about just simply removing the blocks, because you can't go and take the actions that you want to take to be an artist, a performer, or whatever it is it may be, without removing these mental blocks of like what you should be, where your skills should be, what your experience should be, what you should look like, what you should do. No, remove those
You
mental
do not
blocks.
owe anyone anything.
Yeah, and you can do anything. You really truly can set your mind to do anything you want to. So the first part of it is removing those mental blocks. And I'm speaking from experience because I didn't come into this industry as a classically trained dancer when I was a kid. I took classes on my own starting in college. So I just
Yeah, I told you my tap
started.
dancing story. I'm not gonna bore you guys with that, but when I was in college, I accidentally took a tap dance.
That's so
Well, it was a fun
exciting.
experience.
I love that.
It was a mistake because I didn't know what tap was.
She learned. She has a little dance.
English is not my first language, in my defense.
She has a little dance background in there.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, a little
Tap
dance
dance.
background.
I think I should still have shoes. I think I still have the shoes.
I think we're gonna have to do a little performance of those shoes.
Yes, one of these days.
One of these videos.
Dude.
Who would love to see that? I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do a performance in heels, and you do the shoes, and we'll switch.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't know how to do either one of those. So I can
The
do
learning
yoga.
process is
I'll try
fun.
to do yoga in those.
Yeah. The learning process is fun.
I'll do my performance. But yeah, all right. We're going to have to wrap this up, but thank you so much.
Aw,
thank you
thank
so much. I swear to God, like I could talk to you forever. And I really kind of hope that your energy is gonna, I think it will, like it will show in the video for sure. I think it's also gonna show through the mic, like on, because we have this podcast on Spotify and Apple. So yeah, I really just how you own this energy, that's incredible. It's just like I don't even know how to compliment you on this, but I'm trying. So take that.
That's so endearing. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank
and
you.
like I hope that energetically, because I think your energy is absolutely beautiful and divine too. And I notice how vulnerable you are in this podcast as well. Like you don't know who's watching this around the world, but you're just full out. Just expressing it. And that's beautiful. And I hope that whatever we talked about here also influences and inspires everyone. And if there's any questions, whoever is listening to this, any questions you have, please, I encourage all of you guys to ask, because we would love to answer the questions.
100%.
And like however that we can provide value.
I'm gonna put all the socials. I always put them under the video, under like in the description, so you will be able to reach out to Kim. You obviously will always be able to reach out to me, and yeah, we love hearing from you. That's actually so true. I like that inspires me. Whenever I see the feedback, it's just because we're sitting here. Okay, you guys are looking at us, but we're actually staring at ourselves in the camera right now. And this is just and like we're staring at each other or in the camera. So without your feedback, a lot of times it kind of feels like, just standing there and like putting this into the air. But every time
conversing.
Yeah, every time there's a feedback, which I'm super grateful for it, that I have it just in general, because I remember times when I wouldn't have any responses, like I would put something out there and like, just pitch black. That's it. It's not a good feeling. You have to push through that, but I'm happy I'm over that, and now having that feedback,
it's coming.
I know, it feels so amazing.
Comes in time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, come here, give me a hug. Yes. All right.
I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you too.